Hello and welcome to the Nature Show today. This is a fantastic day here in the beautiful state of Utah. And today is January 21st, 2022. Happy New Year to everybody. And we are going live on Facebook. And it is a fantastic because this is our very first live of the year. And I'm starting to get everything going on now on Facebook just to see how it works. And also, I'm recording this show in order to put it on my podcast on Spotify and also Apple Podcasts and everything like that. So it is fantastic to have you all here today. And remember, this show is being brought to you by a couple of sponsors. And we have a Solidify Web. Let's build a website for you today. Need a website for your business? No worries. Call solidifyweb.com and we will be able to help you. Now, also, the other sponsor that we have is Natural Graphics. Natural Graphics will bring alive your business with fantastic graphics. And guess what? Unlimited graphic design for you and your company. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a great guest in the Nacho Show, and we have with us today Mr. Jason Preston. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Excellent. It is fantastic to have you here, and we're going to talk about. In the first segment of this show, we want to talk more about you and your congressional candidacy, and what are the issues that you have been encountering. Just more of a background about yourself, and then on our second segment, we will go ahead and talk more about the direction of the United States and what is this pandemic, really affecting all of us and our current administration, and how we can move forward and protecting our children, protecting our society from the leftists' ideologies and everything like that. So Jason, go ahead and talk to us more about you. Are you born and raised in Utah, or?
I was born here in Utah, in Provo, raised in Orem till I was 12. At 12, my parents got divorced, and my mom kind of became a gypsy, and we lived in Washington for a little while, Oregon, lived in Idaho for a couple of years, and then I ended up spending some time in Hawaii in high school. And kind of my dad stayed in Utah in Orem, so it was one of those things that it was doing the back and forth with custody, and so I did that, and eventually ended up settling here when I was ended up going on a mission, getting my life in order, going on a mission, came back here, started my family, went to BYU, spent some time out in Kentucky in college out there too, but ended up coming back to BYU, and then pretty much been in Utah since then. I spent about 5 years out in Florida, which was incredible, but and then I've been back here the last 4 years. Wow. So been around. I've been around.
Nice. That is fantastic. So wasn't it so much of a temptation to skip school, high school, and go to the beach, pretty much every day?
When I was in Hawaii, yeah, and I did a lot of that. Of course, actually, then, it was funny because in Hawaii, I was definitely a rebellious teenager growing up that way with. So I was.
Aren't we all?
What's that?
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So it was funny because I'm out in Hawaii, and I was this big hippie kid back then. I actually had dreadlocks and
nice.
And that's kind of when I got into mountain biking, and so it was that was kind of the time I started bringing my life back together. Stopped being such a deadhead, and found mountain biking. So I actually spent more time in Hawaii out mountain biking than the beach. But it was a great experience. So I learned a lot. It's interesting. I learned what it was like to be a minority. I'll tell you that.
For sure.
Hawaiians don't like skinny white guys. So I learned to lay low. I learned not to get beat up.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. But great. So Hawaii definitely, well, it will be fantastic. I mean, I will live there. I will live there in a heartbeat. But I don't know. There's just way too many Democrats.
Yeah, it's a very liberal run state, and I've got some good friends who help on the campaign that are from Hawaii who fled because
Wow.
it's the state is falling apart. I mean, it's pretty.
Wow. Wow. Well, Jason, like I said, it is definitely a privilege to have you here in the Natural Show. And I just want to run by you just a couple questions here. And so, why are you running for the congressional seat in your district?
Because I don't think we have much choice. I don't have a choice. You know,
Uh-huh.
I am a big student of history. I love the Constitution. I've always been born with a fierce love for independence and freedom. I've always been, don't tread on me. I mean, actually,
Right.
I dropped out of high school because I felt too controlled by teachers. But, so I've always had that fierce spirit of independence, and I've always loved history. And I think the writing's on the wall, what's coming here.
Uh-huh.
We are headed into very dangerous times. And I believe, we have. I've never been one that's actually been fond of politicians. In fact, I've been always the only time the first time I got involved with politics was helping Ron Paul when he ran for president.
Mm-hmm.
I just sold the tour of Utah, and I brought Ron Paul to Utah to help him fundraise because he was very much this. He believed in the principles of liberty, and I knew the establishment was corrupted, and he was fighting against it.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been kind of on the watchdog side. The last 6 years, I've been working for a political watchdog organization that gets business owners involved in holding Congress accountable. So for 6 years, I'm talking to business owners who are pissed, who are ticked off, who feel like they're losing the country, and I'm encouraging them that hey, we can win this fight, but we need more people in the fight. And I just realized, especially after, the 2020 elections and funny business that went on there, that we're on the razor's edge of losing this country. And the part of the problem is we keep putting these corrupt politicians in office that pledge an allegiance, to the Constitution, and they have no idea what the Constitution even means.
Yeah, for sure.
They pledge to protect it from enemies, foreign and domestic, and then they turn around and they become the enemies. They're the ones who trample over it. So, so I realized in 2022 that we were going to have a chance to fight back, that the people were going to wake up, and there was going to be this surge that is coming, we're already seeing, of people who are awake and seeing the corruption. And I thought, you know what? That's coming, and we need people running for office who understand the Constitution. And even though I've got a very colorful past, and by no means any,
Sure.
perfect,
Sure.
background, we need people willing to stand up and fight, and who understand the Constitution, the principles of liberty. So, that's why I'm running. We have a choice. Either we can go in. We have a dragon, and we can either go into the dragon's lair and take it out, or I can sit back with my family and go hide in the mountains and let that dragon come out and destroy this country. And that is what's coming. That's what happens when Marxism takes over. It is goodbye to the middle class. It is goodbye to those who believe in God. It is goodbye to those who fight back. So either we take the fight to these guys in Washington, and I would add very strongly to the state of Utah, to the people in office who have sold themselves out and who no longer represent people. Either we take the fight to them, or we sit back and let them destroy our children's futures and lives. So, I mean, you tell me what am I going to do? Sit back when you know what you know? You cannot sit back.
Right. Yeah, and that's one of the many reasons why I'm doing this show, and I just going out there and make sure that we proclaim conservatism, in our country, because conservatism definitely helps us remember the reasons why our founding fathers organized this country in a good manner, in the way that God wants it. And we have been so blessed because we have a constitution that it is inspired by God.
Yeah.
And we live in a country where we are, I don't know, like overblessed. I don't know. We're spoiled, and the reasons why is because we're doing something right, and just like you said, we do have elected officials that's supposed to help our country to follow the Constitution, but at the same time, they become our enemies.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and that's exactly what is going on with our administration, and it's just super difficult for me to understand why there's individuals out there that they are seeing the atrocities of the individuals that they voted for. And there's food is getting scarce. There's logistics is just going out the window right now. We have a lot of ship containers waiting for I don't know what the heck, and everything is because our current administration just I'm going to tell you something, and call me conspiracy theorist or whatever you want, but this pandemic was planned. Okay, they right now they're doing the best marketing for the vaccine and for the China virus, like it's a product in the market, and somebody is benefiting very heavily about this, because the first thing is, yes, create something, and in order for you to create demand first, create demand for this, and then now you're gonna go and sell the product out. Oh, and guess what? You can get it into pharmacy. All the pharmacies are actually, available there for you to get the China virus shot. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I see things. And unfortunately, people in the government, they are involved doing all this, and not just that. We there's people in our government, and I'm going to say it openly, because the Nacho Show, I just wanted to let you know, the Nacho Show is a free range, free speech type of show. You can say whatever you want. There's not going to be any. I'm not going to. I'm not going to suppress you or anything like that. And I say whatever I want because it is my show, except for the F word. So. So governors like our governor really is something that is to be concerned about. All right. I really am not. I'm very disappointed of our current governor. And please post in the comments if you are. If you do agree with our governor, please post it in the comments here in the section below, and tell me what you think. We need to fight really, really hard, Jason, in order to keep our state red. We need to fight in order to make good decisions and kick the left out of our government. That's what we need to do.
Can I comment on that?
Sure.
We're a red state already.
We are, but we don't want it to become blue.
We got a red governor, man. What's the big deal? All those well in Zion, man. What are you worried about? We already got a red state. We got no problems here. We already got a Republican state, and that's the problem, right? Because that's the thinking. is that all is well in Zion because we got Republicans in office, we got members of our church, we got people who who talk about prayer. You know, this was the problem when George Bush was in office, how he pushed. I mean, all the warrantless spying goes on everybody right now that everyone's finally awake to, that the left has been using to spy on conservatives. The FBI going after parents, targeting us as terrorists. Where did all that start? That started under George Bush. He's the one that passed that legislation. How did Obama could have never got that done? But it's
Right.
you and I, it's the Republicans that when we get the wolf in sheep's clothing, we let them get away with everything. Utah is a very corrupt state. The more I dig into this, the more I find out about what's going on here in Utah. Utah is one of the most corrupt states in the country. And they get away with so much because we're so gullible, because we think, oh, we've got Republicans. They're members of my church. I don't need to worry. And the Constitution is not a document that applies to other people. It applies because men are not angels. I don't care what church you go to. I don't care if you got an R behind your name or a Democrat behind your name. Power corrupts everybody. And the problem is we think it's all about Republican and Democrat, and that's absolutely not. What we need is not a red wave in Utah. We need to clean out all these Republicans who swear allegiance to defend the Constitution, and then turn around and trample it. And I'll tell you, we have a major problem. You look at Utah. Who's passing the digital driver's license that's going to have your vaccine passport tied to it? What state's doing that? Utah. You look at who's been leading, all the election fraud that happened last year. Who was the poster child for vote by mail? Utah. Bro, it's not about, and that's where I'm challenged people and say we need Republicans. No, what we need to clean out anybody that does not understand the principles of liberty. Anyone that is going into office for a career and to climb the power structure, we've got to get rid of them. And we need to put people into office who are going not to seek power, but to take power down. And that's there's a scripture that talks about that. And that is where we have to, if we are to save the Constitution, all these politicians that are going in there that are beating the stock market out. I mean, the top people, even we have people here in Utah who are even making more money in the stock market than Nancy Pelosi in our backyard. Okay.
Right.
And he's a Republican. I'm so frustrated. And that's the problem is if Utah doesn't wake up and realize that all is not well in Zion, and we don't start paying attention to the problems in Utah and the federal government, we're done. So to me, it's the alarm needs to be set. And this is why you have this awesome show, is you're able to help wake people up. But we've got to wake people up that it's not just about Republicans and Democrats anymore. I'm not concerned. I'm way more concerned about a Republican than a Democrat. Look at Joe Biden. He's getting nothing done. We're shutting him down. But if you stick a Republican in office like a Romney or one of these Coxes or Curtis or all of a sudden those are the guys who are destroying the country because we don't do our job of watching and holding them accountable because where the wolf in sheep's clothing is far more dangerous. And that's who I'm concerned about is I want the wolves in the sheep clothing. I want them identified and I want them out of the flock.
Let's do a little bit of an analysis here, Jason. So you mentioned that it is not about if the person is a Republican or Democrat. Let's do a little bit of analysis there. So if you and I know what the Democrat Party stands for, right? So if we put a Democrat in office, but if the policies are correct, I should say, are going on the right direction, would you vote for that person?
Probably not. Because here's the problem. I have a problem with the Democratic Party. What it stands for today has become so far extreme away from the principles upon which this country's founded. The Republican Party, at least in concept, stands closer to these principles. But I wouldn't vote. No Republican gets my automatic vote either. I think we're typically I would be, but you asked, how about Libertarian Party?
Uh-huh.
There are definitely some people in the Libertarian Party I think are rock solid. The Constitutional
Yeah.
Party, some rock solid people. I think the Democratic Party as a party has become so corrupted. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have some people standing up. I mean, look at, in Arizona, we've got, what's her name out there? Cinema, who's been standing up.
Mm-hmm.
She's been stopping the party, and I appreciate her. We have some Democrats that have some common sense, and I appreciate them at least standing up against the Build Back Better and the $15 minimum wage, and they've at least been standing up to the bill. But the party itself has become so socialistic and Marxist that no, I could not support someone in the Democratic Party, period.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. And unfortunately, there's people that do not. The other day, I was at somebody's podcast, and the individual that was a guest that I was debating with, he is from Argentina, and it is super funny because Argentina they've gone through some very rough times with socialism and communism. So, and the guy claimed that he read Marx and all of his books and whatever crap. And I started to blame the Democrat Party about being Marxist and applying all of those tactics, leftist tactics, into the United States. And he told me, he had the nerve to tell me, well, I don't understand why you're saying that the Democrat. It is ridiculous to think that the Democrat Party they're Marxist or communists. It is insane that you're saying that. And I'm like, why cannot you recognize the tactics? I mean, it's impossible for you to not understand that the same tactics that are being used in South America and in China are being used here in the United States. In the Nacho show last year, I interviewed an immigrant from China, and she was very straightforward with everything that she was saying about how China uses it's a copy paste type of tactic that they're using in China, United States, and in South America. And also, I interviewed another individual from Venezuela, which was saying the same things. So in China, she was talking about a group of militants from high school and college that they were wearing green shirts, everybody, and that they were rioting in China and proclaiming a new way of living in the society, which obviously was communism. And they had a lot of cancel culture. Well, you and I know that China it's very rich in culture. And what they did in order to convert China into a communist country, they had to cancel their beliefs. They had to cancel, all of those things that they stood for, and they converted China into this new trend of society, which it was called communism. And she was not afraid to say all this. Her being from China, and she was mentioning that she was being watched. And but she was not afraid because she was still here in America and she believes in our culture. And that's the same tactics that they're using here in the U.S. About the CRT and the SEL crap and all of those fallacies. Like an Antifa. Which in China was like the green jackets guys. So I mean, everything is very similar, and those are so the Democrats are freaking socialists, and they want to destroy our country. And all this woke whatever crap that is going on is I mean it is being applied here. They're just being American stylishing it, and that's what's going on. So Jason, let me ask you another question here because this conversation is fantastic. So you being in Congress, who are you against who is in the seat right now?
John Curtis.
John Curtis. Okay. What are things that you feel that you can do better than Curtis?
Defend the Constitution, understand the role. What is the role of a representative? That is the question. That is the first question. What is a representative supposed to do? Okay. Mm-hmm. They swear an oath. Okay. They swear an oath to defend the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic.
Right.
They are supposed to be a watchman on the tower. Okay. Their job is to pass legislation that is in alignment with the Constitution. Here's the problem. We put people in office, and this is not even about Curtis. This is a problem that we have as a country. And things there's a book called Tocqueville wrote called Democracy in America. And one of the things he said is in a democracy, it should be in a republic, you get the government you deserve. And the problem is, you talked about CRT. You talked about the schools. There has been an effort in this country over the last, 60, 70 years to slowly take away our understanding of the principles of liberty. Most people have no idea of the principles of liberty. You learn in the Constitution in college, maybe the three branches of government, but very few people are taught the proper role of government, what power the government has, what power it doesn't have, how to decide if a law is constitutional or not. Very few people understand that. So the problem is we elect people who promise us things that sound nice.
Exactly.
Okay. We promise people who promise to do things for us. We're going to give you free phones. We're going to do this for you. We're going to do this for you. But because we don't understand, well, wait a minute, do you even have the authority to do that? Do you as the government have the authority to take my money or take your money and give it to him or to just come and without, do you have that authority to pass laws like that? Mm-hmm. Does the federal government in the 10th Amendment have authority to do that, or should it be the states? So the problem is we elect people that don't even understand the Constitution. And this has been one of the things that's one of the reasons I'm running. So you get someone in there, and what do? Their motivation is power. So how do you get power? You say what you do the polling, you find out what the people want to hear, and you say it. And when you move from one district to the next, now you switch from a Democrat to a Republican because now you want this seat. So now we're all of a sudden, where once he was a Democrat, now I'm going to be a Republican so I can run for Congress, which is what this representative did. He was a Democrat his whole life, Democratic Party chair in Utah County, Democratic mayor in Provo. Now all of a sudden the seat opens up for Congress, and now I'm a Republican. Again, it's not. We have people who are running for the wrong reasons. So how can someone like that, whose primary objective is power, so it's a completely different paradigm. What will I do different? I'll defend the Constitution. 95% of what the federal government is doing is illegal. It is breaking the supreme law of the land. It is the responsibility of Congress to say, wait a minute, you have no authority to do this, federal government. This power belongs back to the state. So boom, we need to start saying no to the federal government. But the principle is this. The other thing is we need to be watchmen in the tower. I'm out talking to people all day long. So this is what I do for a living for the last 6 years. You know what people are concerned about right now? Mm-hmm. They're concerned about election integrity.
Correct.
They are concerned about this medical tyranny, these mandates that these governors and the federal government has no constitutional authority to be pushing. They are concerned about the hijacking of our school systems, okay, with this CRT, with this Marxist ideology and just gender push, okay? They're concerned about our economy, the dollar that is sinking in the value of the dollar. And they're concerned about energy independence. Those are the top things people are concerned about, right? They're very concerned. Now, here's my question, and I'd ask your listeners this. How many of you have representatives that are telling you, hey, these are issues you guys should be concerned about? You need to stand up. You need to be aware. You need to know what's going on in election integrity. You need to know what's going on here with these mandates. It's not illegal. They should be watching on power. Instead, what I'm hearing from the people I talk to is I write them letters. I call them. I'm doing all these things and they're blowing me off, or they're just giving me lip service, or they're trying to avoid me. That's not the role of a representative. The role of a representative is not to protect big government. The role of the representative is to protect is to represent,
the people.
Serve the people who are the masters. We are the employer. The people we put in office work for us. And in Utah, we have people in office who senators who dare tell us that they are above reproach. That's the way these people think. They think that their power has put them above us. They're getting wealthy. They're getting rich off their service. So how am I different? The complete mindset is different. It is a completely different worldview. It's not even the same. Again, I recognize that we're about to lose this country, and my kids are on the verge. Not only my kids, we ourselves are about to walk into a Marxist dictatorship. That is not a joke. History is very clear. We are on the path. The patterns are there. Human nature doesn't change. This is not some magical utopia America that can't fall. Okay, it's ignorant to think we're immune to tyranny here.
Right.
I'm going to take it down, to fight back. While the representatives we have in office now, they're going to try to stabilize the power structure and get as much power as they can out of it. It's a completely different world view. It's almost impossible to compare the two.
Wow, yeah, definitely, and I applaud you. You know, like standing ovation right here for what you really want to do. I mean, that is the character that we. I mean, that's I'm not the character. I'm thinking in Spanish. I apologize. So that's the right attitude that somebody in office should take. I don't know. You remind me of DeSantis a lot. So,
well,
yeah,
there's a reason he's popular right now, because people are looking for someone to stand up and speak truth, not play the political game, and he's doing that, and that's what we need more of. And that's why when I'm out talking to people, I'm saying, look, it's I can't fix this country, neither can DeSantis, but if enough people will stand up and get in the fight, we will. Stand up, speak what's true. Don't be afraid of the political correct, woke police.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I could not agree more with you, about that, because that's definitely the truth. So let's just go ahead and take a very small break here, Jason. And then I will just go ahead and talk to you guys more about the Nacho Show. Keep watching the Nacho Show. Please go ahead and give it a like. Please make your comments here. And see what we can come up with as far as your questions is concerned. So remember, this show is being brought to you by solidifyweb.com. Let's bring a website for you today. And also, we have another sponsor, which is Nacho Graphics. Nacho Graphics will bring your business alive with unlimited graphic design for you and your business. And Jason and I, we're talking about, electing officials, and one of the things that all American citizens should be very concerned about is secure voting. Please go to this website, www.securevoteutah.org, and you will find a lot of information on how to be involved, because we don't want machines to vote. We want to go in there and vote just the right way. So please go www.securevoteutah.org and inform yourself. Please go in there and find more information about how we can make our secure voting system great again. Basically, that's what we want to do. So we are back with you, Jason. Thank you so much for being here with us. So from this segment, we want to talk about, well, you talked about DeSantis and what he is currently doing and the type of guy that he is. Do you think he'll run for president? I really hope so.
From what I hear, I think he's. It will depend on Trump. He won't run against Trump, from what I understand. If Trump just decides not to run, then I think he's definitely will run. That's what I hear.
Okay.
That's what I've heard from some of my friends out in Florida that are very close there.
And I see a lot of people, businesses, and regardless if they are Democrat or Republican or conservative, they are going to Florida. They're moving there, and it is my understanding that real estate is pretty scarce now. People are moving just like in big quantities. And float in Florida, which is great. I mean, because they want to find good economy, and they want their businesses to thrive. And Florida is very fertile right now to do so. So, but yeah, I mean, we have Texas, obviously, which is a very conservative state. But yeah, we do see a lot of liberals, running, into conservative states, and in order to vote for what they are fleeing away from or even invade. Now, that's the case of Utah right now, because that's the state that we live in, and I am concerned about all of the. I mean, it's okay. I mean, you can go and move, wherever you want and everything, but come on. I mean, if you are fleeing away from something that was not serving you, then you come here and then you vote for that, then that's just insanity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely applaud you for your attitude and for your feelings, and what you really want to do for our country, and that's the type of individual that we need in office. So do you currently have a website or anything like that, Jason, so people can look at your info?
I do. It's PrestonForCongress.com.
Okay, PrestonForCongress.com. Okay, here it is, right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it here on as soon as it saves. And yeah, please go to PrestonForCongress.com. And there it is, right there, PrestonForCongress.com. Please look at his. What was that?
We have Facebook and Instagram. Facebook is more about blocking stuff, but our Instagram's pretty good. It's UT Jason Preston on Instagram. But yeah, I mean, we got to create an army here, and I'll tell you, that's to me the only way to win this battle. It's not about politicians. It's not about me. In fact, let's see if we got the book here. I think it's downstairs. But there's the key to winning, to saving this country isn't politicians per se. It's the people. We have to. There is nothing more powerful than a awake group of patriots who assemble and will stand up for freedom, who will be engaged. The most dangerous thing for freedom is silence. It's people sitting on the sidelines. Tyranny feeds on lies. Tyranny feeds on silence. And when you have something to say, when you know something's right and you don't say it, that is a lie. And that's what tyranny feeds on. And that's the problem we have here in this state and across the country, is we have a lot of people who see things aren't right. They know, well, you know what? Is there two genders? I mean, my logic tells me there's only two genders, but I don't want to say that there's not, because I'm afraid if I say there's not, I don't want to get ridiculed, and so I'm going to just keep silent. Well, that's a lie.
Yeah.
And that's what tyranny feeds on. When you see, I see that I always knew that vaccination, if you're vaccinated, doesn't that keep you from getting sick? And well, and that's what my mind tells me, but I don't want to be seen as an anti-vaxxer, so I'm not going to say anything. And I know that, mask, the science has always said that the particles for this, something like this, can go right through there. So my logic tells me this, but I don't want to be. I don't want to upset the apple cart. So I'm going to go along with it. And tyranny feeds on lies. And so we have a choice right now in America. We can either call out the emperor who has no clothes and expose the lie at risk of being ridiculed by the woke club, or we can stay silent and watch and completely lose this country and lose the freedom of speech completely because we're losing it. So
Right.
the path to victory is we need more people to wake up and start fighting back. And it's voting for people who understand the principles of liberty, not just people who come say, I'm pro Second Amendment, I'm pro life. I'm not for people who talk the talking points, but people who understand the principles and the philosophy of freedom. So we need to put people in office, but more important, we need people standing up and saying no. We need people in the streets. We need an army of we the people who will stand up and refuse to comply with tyranny, like what we did in the Tea Party movement. And that's our mission. Our mission is to create an army of people who will stand up and say, no, we need, by spring and early summer, we need 10,000 people that we can mobilize. So when the state tries to push garbage that's illegal, 10,000 people we will show up at the state capitol building and say, not on our watch. Because
Right.
either the establishment holds power or we the people hold power. And that all depends on how active we are. And if we're going to sit quietly much longer, we are going to lose all the power we still hold. But we can win, but it's going to require us to get more invested than we have been.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%. We cannot be the shy kid, the shy kid in the classroom anymore. We can't, and we cannot. This country cannot afford it.
No.
And I cannot afford it. So that's why I'm doing this, and I really hope that I can reach out to as many people as possible and bring on, patriots and all kinds of individuals that love the Constitution and love this country for sure. So, one quick question for you, and this is what I have been asked recently. Do you think I should bring somebody from my opposite views into the show? What do you think?
Yeah, bring them on. Bring them on. I mean, look, why are we afraid? This is the problem in this country is
Mm-hmm.
think about, let's think at history. What happened in the dark ages were a time where the church controlled the narrative, and they did not let there be any opposing views. And if there was an opposing view, the person was silenced or killed. Silenced or killed.
Mm-hmm.
What brought on the Enlightenment period? It was when the church got out of. It was when knowledge exploded. It was when they found these books. When they found when the people started to find knowledge again, and it became disseminated widely. And then all of a sudden, when the church got reined in and people were able to have debate and have conversations, that's what led to the Enlightenment period, and that's what led to the founding fathers, where we have a country where there can be discussion. What's so scary to me is we're moving back to a period where this is what the religion of the state religion says. And if anyone questions the state religion, they're silenced, they're persecuted, they send out the woke mob after them. The corporations, which are in bed with the government, seek to fire them and take away their jobs. We're moving from a place. Here's the thing. I got no problem with having a debate on COVID and how we respond to it. Okay. But there's no debate. You bring up an alternative point of view. If you're a doctor who actually invented the technology that they're using in these vaccines, and you're silenced, you're not even allowed to speak. This is authoritarianism. This is tyranny we're moving into, and people have to wake up and see it. And here's what you'll hear people argue. Well, sometimes it's for the public good. We just need to comply. And you'll hear people use the example. For example, in World War II, when England was under attack at nighttime to protect the state, everybody had to keep their blinds closed at night so that you could see no light. So the bombers flying over couldn't see anything. And they said people had to comply. It was forced for the good of society. But what they don't acknowledge is an important piece. There was discussion. There was debate. Should we do this? Should we not do it? There was debate. And the people decided, okay, we've heard both sides. Let's do this. In America, there's no debate now. This is what Fauci says. And if you question it, you're this, you're that, and we're going to take you off social media. We're going to deplatform you. So should we have debate? Hell yes, we should have debate and let the best ideas come to the surface. So I got no problem. I'll talk to someone from Black Lives Matter. I'll talk to a Democrat. I'll talk to these rhinos, who are, I'll talk to people because I'm not afraid of truth. Our ultimate pursuit needs to be truth. And if we're wrong on certain things, which I promise you we are, we all hold beliefs that are not true. Mm-hmm. No one truth, we know nothing. And the danger is when we think we know, and so we stop exploring. And so, yes, I would applaud you. Bring someone on. I'd love to have a conversation with other ways. Let's let the truth surface, move to the top. So, yes, that's my perspective.
Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned, wow, that I actually didn't quite think about this, that you were saying is that let's have a conversation in order to make a decision on things, regardless of the opposite views, because get this, I mean, if all of us would have the same flavor of food, there would not be any, I don't know, gosh, yeah, it would be definitely not good. So the beauty of the United States of America is that, we are a melting pot of cultures and flavors, and we love it. I'm Hispanic. Your ancestors were probably from Europe and everything like that. And there are beautiful things that your ancestors brought here to the U.S. And there are beautiful things that us Hispanics bring to the U.S. like Mexican food. Hello, who doesn't like Mexican food?
Where would we be without Mexican food?
Exactly.
Further, we lived in Miami, and I'll tell you what. You want to talk about some patriots? Try growing up in Cuba. Try living under communism. Those people came to Miami. You want to talk about some patriots? You wanted to hear their perspective.
Uh-huh.
Try having them. How about these guys coming from Venezuela? You want to talk about amazing patriots here in Utah, or in the country? These people who fled Venezuela and saw what happened there. In fact, I had a guy that when I was a business owner, he said, Jason, he said, I had an experience in Venezuela. He said, now it's been 20 years ago, it was oil-rich country. We were all prosperous. It got so bad, I had the military break into my home, line me and my kids up at gunpoint, go through, take everything of value, and then they came and pointed their guns to execute us. And he said, Jason, wow. I dropped to my knees and said, before you shoot us, can I pray with my family? He says the guards put their guns down and left. And he says, Jason, I found a way to get to America as fast as I could. And here was the chilling remark he gave me. He said, and he even wrote it down. I have it in writing. He said, I saw what happened in Venezuela when no one thought it could happen. And he says, and I see the same thing happening here. Oh. I have that in writing from him on the back of his business card. I understand, we do need to hear, that is the beautiful thing about America. I think having, where are these people in Capitol in Washington listening to this perspective before we rush into these decisions and give the federal government all this power? Maybe they should sit and listen to this guy. We do need debate, and we need debate from different people who've seen different things from different parts in this beautiful melting pot.
Right. Agreed 100%. Thank you so much for your comments, Todd. I definitely appreciate that. And the best thing, I'm thinking about someone to bring on that could be a good fit for the show. But yeah, I'm still kind of like undecided. But yes, Jason, thank you so much for being in this the Nacho Show. You're always welcome, to come back here in the show, and I definitely keep encouraging you to keep going with your work. I really hope and pray that you win this race, because America needs you, and your congressional district needs you, and our country needs people like you to keep with the passion, with the spirit. You have a fantastic spirit. And we that's something that we really need. Remember, folks, go to his website, prestonforcongress.com. You will find all of his information there. Please feel free to contact him if you have any questions in regards of his congressional race. Please feel free to go there, contact him, yeah, to have a conversation about everything. And well, anyway, thank you so much, Jason. It was definitely a pleasure to have you here in this wonderful show. And remember, folks, this is the Nacho Show. Don't forget to go to my website, thenachoshow.com, and you will find all sorts of information there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jason. And we will see you guys next time.
Awesome. Thank you. God bless you.
God bless. Thank you.